Hello and welcome to Coffee with Jenny B. It's conversations over coffee. It's about community, connections, what brings me joy, and everything in between. I'm your host, Jenny Sakovac. I guess there's only one choice. You get busy living or get busy dying. Now that was a line, actually paraphrased, from the movie The Shawshank Redemption. The character Andy Dufresne spoke that line to his friend Red. Now both of them are serving life sentences at a penitentiary. So what does that have to do with how we view our life? Well, when you think about the third act of your life, and that's anywhere between 50 and dead, what is your plan? What is your purpose? Are you busy living, as in following your passion, doing things that bring you joy, having a plan and a purpose of volunteering, working at a coffee shop, babysitting your grandchildren? Or are you busy dying? Not dying, real dying, but you're sitting in your easy chair and you're just watching TV all day. Now, you're not actually dying, but you're not actually living. My guest today is someone who has experience in working with primarily women, ages 40 and up, about wellness and everything that encompasses. Her name is Laurie Barkman, and she's a women's wellness coach. Please help me welcome Laurie. Hi, Laurie.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here.
Oh, absolutely. I was really happy to have you because I know that you have a lot of wisdom to share about the topic that we were just talking about. And so when I say get busy living or get busy dying, how does that relate to you as a wellness coach?
You know, it's really interesting, and I love that quote. I have watched the movie numerous times, do not recall that quote, but you know, I think that, all of us, none of us are getting out of here alive, right?
No.
But how we spend that time while we're here is so incredibly important. And we have such an opportunity to really, truly live when we give ourselves the gift of, taking care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, etc. So I guess that's it primarily.
Okay, and so it's really everything. It's not just your diet. It's not just exercising. It's not finding that purpose as I was talking about. It's really all about mindset, isn't it?
It is. So I am a women's wellness coach. So I'm certified as a nutrition coach, as a fitness coach. I'm not taking certification right now on sleep and stress. But it's interesting because by far the majority of the work that I do when I'm working with my clients is we're looking at mindset, the beliefs that we hold about ourselves, about the world around us. And because I do tend to work with women in that 40 plus, about the beliefs that we may hold about what, that third life or what aging looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because when I think about myself as a Zumba instructor. So for instance, I started teaching when I was 50. And so it's 15 years that I've been doing Zumba. But when my instructor asked me to take the Zumba certification, I said, oh no, I'm too old. I had that limiting belief about myself that I couldn't do it. And she convinced me that I could do otherwise. And so 15 years later, I'm still doing it and I'm still loving it. And so you mentioned about the limiting beliefs. It really stops us in our track and doesn't even give us the idea that we could do it.
No,
Yeah.
It is. It's amazing how much that holds us back. And there's a lot of, we see a lot of things in the news, on social media, things like that kind of perpetuate that stereotype of what old age is. I love to see some of the more positive messaging coming out right now. That is, I feel joy every time I see that. But you're right. A lot of times we hold ourselves back because we use those words, we're too old, I can't change now, it's too late. And it's never too late. It's never too late. I didn't start my own health and wellness journey until I was in my 50s. So it's not too late, just telling it.
So you're a good example for your clients, because sometimes when they come to you and they say, oh, I don't know if I can continue, I don't know what I want to do with my life, I can't change. And so by sharing your story, it really gives them that inspiration that they can continue, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does. And it's really important to understand why it is that you want to make that change. So I was in my early 50s. I worked in tourism and hospitality for over 30 years. It's a very demanding job. It comes with a lot of extracurricular events that usually involve food and alcohol. And I was living a very I was a sedentary life. I'd go to work, I'd come home, I would do exactly what you talked about. I would sit on the couch. And then I remember going to visit my parents one day, and my parents really developed a love of travel in me. It's because of them that I love to travel so much, because they were both teachers, so we did tons and tons of traveling. Nothing extravagant, they were teachers, remember? But we explored everywhere. And as my parents got older, they developed a lot of chronic illnesses, primarily because of their lifestyle, so sedentary and becoming very overweight. And I remember sitting in the living room with them and hearing them say these words over and over again: we'd love to go back, but we can't anymore. And their health had made their big world much, much smaller. And I knew that I didn't want my world to become smaller. And so I needed to make those changes so that my world could stay larger. And that was kind of that reason for being. And yeah, you know what? So at 50 years of age, I made a lot of changes, not all at once. And now I'm in a place where I am much healthier, and I have confidence that as I continue to age, I'm almost 59, I turned 59 this year, I will still be able to do the things that I love. There's a whole world to explore. Plus I'm a brand new grandma.
Oh, yeah.
And I really need to be able to get down on the floor and play with this little girl, so.
It's interesting you mentioned about being a grandma, because when I started a fitness regime, they asked us, so why do you want to do this? Well, I want to get fitter, but why? Well, I want to get fitter because I want to feel good, but why? My reason was I want to be there for my grandchildren. I want to be able to keep up with them. I want to be able to be there for them. And so for me, that was my big why. That was my purpose for wanting to be healthy, wanting to continue. And it really does make a big difference.
Yeah. You know what I love? So this idea of continuing to ask why, it's so important, because very often we use that. It's like, I want to get healthy. Well, why do you want to get healthy?
Yeah.
And if you keep asking yourself that question over and over again, you're going to get to this nugget that is incredibly powerful and has a big emotional meaning and attachment to it. And that's what keeps you going when it gets tough. Because when you're making changes to your life, especially, like I said, I was in my 50s, so I was pretty set with a lot of my habits. So it's not easy to make those changes, but if you have that deeply personal why, it helps you keep going when it gets hard.
It does.
Yeah.
It made me think about resolutions. When you think about a New Year's resolution, I want to lose weight. Okay, well, so you want to lose weight, but how much weight? And why do you want to lose that weight? And so what we're doing is, drilling down and thinking about, okay, so why do you want to lose weight? Well, I want to feel better. Okay, but why do you want to feel better? Well, because my joints don't ache, and so on and so forth. And then you get to the reason why, and it's because, I don't feel comfortable in my body, or my clothes don't fit, or I'm dealing with all these chronic illnesses. So when you're dealing with all of these reasons for wanting to lose weight, once you're clear about your goal and working with someone such as yourself as a wellness coach, you can provide those tools that they need and the inspiration for them to continue.
And it's interesting, the reference to losing weight. That is why most people will call me, because they want to lose weight. But when we dig down deeper, the weight loss is really, it's like a byproduct of habit change that makes them feel better. So when you dig deeper, and it's because I want to have energy to play with my children, I want to be able to travel, I want to be able to do all these things, those, the weight loss becomes a byproduct of change, right? So we always celebrate, we celebrate everything, right? So, we can celebrate the scale going down, absolutely, but when we really celebrate the fact that we've made healthy choices, we've been consistent for a week, and we start to love, or at least not hate, the process, that's when we start seeing real change too. It's so exciting. Like I just love that when my clients share some of those wins that have nothing to do with weight, but everything to do with health and wellness.
You know, it just made me think about, I can't remember if it was Facebook or it was somewhere on the social media. And a woman had posted that she had been going to the gym continuously, I think a year. And anyway, a woman came up to her and said, "Oh yeah, I noticed that you've been coming to the gym." And she says, "Yeah, I've been coming here for a year." And she says, "Well, you don't look any different."
I know which one you're talking about.
Right? Mm-hmm. And the woman took a pause for a second. And what she didn't share to the other person, because of course when somebody makes a kind of a rude comment, you don't really respond or try not to. But what she said to herself was, or what she posted in her on Facebook, is, "I'm off my medication. My breathing is better. I'm sleeping better at night. I'm less stressed. I can fit better into my clothes." And so weight really has nothing to do with it, or even muscle mass for that matter, because it's all about what are those little changes that you are noticing every day. You know, it's like for myself, I go to a gym and I work out pretty much every day. And the other day, because I've been having trouble doing sit-ups, believe it or not, because my core isn't as strong as I'd like. And then one day I was able to do a full sit-up and I'm like, wow, woohoo! I know, woohoo! But it's that gradual, it's that consistency that you're doing every day. You're doing something a little. It's at 1%.
It's at 1%, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Every day you're doing something a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and you're consistent with it, and that's how you see the results.
Yeah, you know, and that's okay. So yes, we're so on the same page. And the other thing, and further to that, is this idea of. It is consistency and it's small steps. Mm-hmm. When we talk about New Year's resolutions, a lot of times people jump into January and they think they decide to change everything all at once, right? And our lives are already busy and stressful as it is. And when you try and make all of these changes, it's kind of like you're just blowing up your life. Like don't do that, right? Recognize that for me, right? If it took me 50 years to get to this point, I don't need to it's not going to change overnight.
No.
So find one or two things that you can change. Make small changes, get really good at those changes, then do another change or build on it or something. I have this one, it's called I call it the ASA strategy. So it's add, subtract, or adapt. And it's really all about finding a habit. So something that you can change, right? Mm-hmm. So this is going to be an extreme example, but let's say you have a donut, 2 donuts every morning for breakfast.
Okay.
Don't do that. Getting healthy doesn't mean that you have to cut out all your donuts immediately. Perhaps what you do is you just start cutting back on those donuts, right? And you replace one donut with an apple, things like that, right? So you can make these steps in a manageable way, and all of a sudden you're not eating donuts, or you're only having one a week instead of however many. But it's this idea of just small steps done consistently lead up to big change. Now, if you intentionally decide to make change, so it took me 50 years to get to that point, it's not going to take 50 years to turn it all around. No. You can definitely reduce that, but you're doing it with intention, and you're doing it with kindness, and you're doing it with compassion for yourself. Mm-hmm. To me, that's what it's all about. Let's just stop being so hard on ourselves, and let's be kind and gentle to ourselves as we take this journey towards a healthier version of ourselves. And I totally agree about the idea of being kind to yourself, because sometimes when, let's say you're on a diet and you've been eating really well, and then one day you decide, you know what, I really crave that hamburger and fries. And so you have the hamburger and fries, or you eat that donut and you're like, that's it. You know what, I screwed up my diet. I might as well just stop and just whatever, I give up. Versus, okay, so I had a minor setback, I had the hamburger, I had a glass of wine, I ate the donut. Today was today, tomorrow's another day, you get back on track. And it's not beating ourselves up for the fact that, so we had a failure, if you call it that, right? Yeah. Failure. So we had a minor setback. We're all human. We all deal with different things. It's like going to a birthday party
and they're giving you a piece of cake and it's like, oh no, I'm on a diet. I can't have the cake. Well, eat the cake.
Eat the cake.
And then have a salad for dinner. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, it's because I just had, I mean, one of my clients had that exact experience last week. But the thing is, like, it's interesting. I actually go a little bit different. It's a little bit, like, almost a little bit further. I don't actually even count those as setbacks if the decision was made mindfully.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So if you consciously decide, you know what, today I want to have a burger and fries, eat your burger and fries.
And enjoy it.
And enjoy them. And recognize this is one meal out of so many meals. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's making mindful choices. So I have a weakness, and it's called ripple potato chips.
And dip.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But so I still have those, but I eat them mindfully. That whole bag is never sitting in front of me because I could eat that whole bag. But I can take a little bit, I can put them in a bowl, I can eat them slowly and enjoy them. And that's not a setback. I can still enjoy, you know, I believe we can still enjoy them, but in moderation and with intention. It's that mindless. It's like, you know, that's where sometimes I don't use the word failures either, because I think that every single setback or failure is actually just an opportunity to learn, right? Explore it. What happened?
Yep.
And then, you know, you learn something else about yourself and you move on.
And you're right, because when you think about being mindful and having an intention, and that just doesn't apply to eating, but also to exercise, to, you know, the constant scrolling on social media. It's what do you want to do with your time? You know, and I think about friends of mine who started, you know, learning how to teach Zumba, and they don't do it anymore because it was either too hard or life got too busy, and whatever. Everybody has a good reason for wanting to switch their direction, right? But for me, it's something that I really enjoy. It's exercise, and I get to inspire women who take my classes because it's showing them, okay, so, you know, I'm 65, still teaching Zumba. You know, you can do it too. Mind you, work at your own pace, which is what I tell everybody. But it's really, age is just another number. Yeah.
Well, and I keep saying, so first of all, how lucky are we? I mean, how lucky? You're 65, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be 59. Like, not everybody is fortunate enough to get to be our age.
Right.
And I think that as more and more of us kind of stand up and we're proud of where we're at and the experiences that we have, and we can share those, we can really be part of that conversation that aging's a good thing, or it definitely, well, I think aging is always better than the alternative.
Right.
But those years can be healthy, right? They can bring joy, and it's going to look different than it did when we were in our 20s and 30s. But I mean, if somebody gave me the chance to go back to 30, I'd be like, no.
Yep.
Like, no, I'm good, right? I don't want that.
Been there, done that, wore the t-shirt.
Exactly, right? So, you know, but what you said too about inspiring other women and letting them see that, hey, you know what, this is what 65 can look like. I think that's fantastic.
I agree. Yeah. And you know, that brings me to something that you and I spoke about before, and the idea of ageism. Now, there's a couple of different ways of looking at ageism. It's where we're given the perception, so somebody looking at us thinking, oh, well, you know, how come you're doing that? You know, aren't you too old for that? But not even that. It's either we're saying to ourselves, again, we talked about that we're too old or we can't do it, but it's even getting our family and friends to say, you know, why are you going to the gym every day? You know, you're going to hurt yourself.
Well, I guess if I'm not careful, I might, but that's got nothing to do with my age.
Right, but you have enough naysayers who are trying to convince you that, you know, well, you know, you're retired, you should take it easy, you know, volunteer, do some baking, you know, go knit, go, you know, whatever they think that a grandmother or somebody in their 60s should be doing, versus, no, this is what I want to do because I can. I know my husband, bless his heart, I know he worries about me, but he's like, you're going to hurt yourself. You know, buddy, I'm stronger than you because I work out every day. But we have enough people saying you can't do this. We need to stand up for ourselves and say, yes, we can do this. Yeah.
Let's be the voice for ourselves and for others, right? Agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah. Be proud of whatever age you're at. Just be proud of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're setting an example for our grandchildren.
Yes.
Right? Because if they see that, you know, grandma's working out, grandma's doing this, grandma's doing that, grandma's got a, you know, a side business, whatever it is, then that gives them the impression that, you know what, it doesn't matter how old I am, I can do whatever I want, because we're role models for our children and our grandchildren.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to watching my granddaughter grow up and kind of being that example where, grandmas are pretty cool. I mean,
yeah.
We can have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, if someone listening wants to, I guess, not start over or find their purpose or find their passion, what would you say, or what course could we take, or how can someone start working with you to get a better direction for their, the third act of their life?
So I have, I do one-on-one coaching. So there's that, and then I also do some group coaching. Then there's a program that it's called the Habit Transformation Program. It's 12 weeks, and it's really all about looking at and identifying habits, mindsets, and beliefs, and really exploring those. So that is more of a group project, or not a project, but a group kind of program. And then, or there's the one-on-one, and that's where, I mean, we spend some quality time together and develop some customized programming. So I can be found on LinkedIn. I have a website. I'm on Facebook. But it always starts with a call, because I really want someone to make sure that they feel comfortable. I believe that, when there's a connection, when we feel comfortable together, that's when success happens as well. I also tell people that if you're looking for someone to give you a prescribed nutrition plan, wrong person, right? Right? Like that's not me. I believe it's about finding what works for you, and that means it's very customizable, right? And that means that I'm not promising 30 pounds in 30 days, because those programs sometimes bring fast results, but not long-term results. So if you're kind of like willing to, or you're ready and willing to just make those deep internal changes and look at mindsets and beliefs and all those other kind of things, and you're looking for long-term, then reach out, and I'd love to have a conversation with somebody. We've got a couple of options to explore together then.
Which is good. And I'm glad that you mentioned about the idea that if somebody is looking to lose weight or to go on a diet plan, that, that is not something that you are really promoting. And I'm sure that you could direct them to someone, a dietitian or a nutritionist, etc. But what you're offering is something even better, is that, first of all, finding out, what do they want to do? So you mentioned about, well, I want to lose weight. Okay, but why? I want to start exercising. Okay, but why? And really getting down to the nitty gritty. And sometimes what they really want is not actually what they need, or even what they should have, in a sense. And I use the word should deliberately here, because they have ideas about what they want, but with you asking questions and getting down to the nitty gritty, it's giving them that opportunity to share maybe some of the setbacks that they've had, or even, and I'm sure you've had some women get very emotional when they talk about perhaps some of the setbacks they've had, or some, dashed dreams. Maybe they wanted to be a marathon runner, but they couldn't because they were told that they couldn't do it, and that's just an example of whatever it is that they want to do.
Yeah. So absolutely. I mean, I work with them on nutrition plans, but I don't prescribe a plan because I am certified as nutrition. But it's really all about healthy choices related to food, related to movement, finding what works for you, what you love to do. Even if you don't love it yet, you can learn to hate it less, and eventually start doing it and start enjoying it. Right? Yeah. And I'm someone who went through all of those get thin quick. I mean, I did so many of them. I mean, I'm not going to name them all here.
Yep, me too.
Right? And they all work insofar as they help to lose weight, but they don't deal or address any of the underlying reasons for the weight gain and the unhealthy habits and the mindsets, right? So if somebody is looking to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, I'm not the right person for them. There is a plan out there somewhere. I'm actually not going to recommend any. But what I found too is sometimes people who, I had one client who was working with a registered dietitian because of some chronic illnesses, right? But what I was able to provide was some of that underlying work to go with the plan that she gave, right? So sometimes you need to work with a registered dietitian, right? I mean, that's absolutely the right thing to do. Absolutely the right thing to do. But they don't always necessarily provide some of that other support. Some do, some don't. So that's where I can work in tandem with other health practitioners as well. Yeah.
So in a sense, you're a coach, you're a mentor, you're an inspiration. You're whatever someone needs from you, you're able to provide that for them in a way that is holistic and in a way that keeps them motivated. Because sometimes, I mean, I've worked with coaches, I've worked with, trainers, I've worked, I've tried all the diets, you name it, I've probably tried it at one time or another, but there wasn't that support, there wasn't that idea that I could succeed or I could continue. And even after the plan is over, now it's like, okay, well, now what? I don't have that support anymore. And so, it's now you're going back into the old habits that you don't want to do. And how do we instill that willpower, that determination that we can continue even if we don't have that support for us?
You know what? One of the things that I'll always remember is this was like way back when, early on in my career. This one lady, her name was Gail. She was my boss, and she believed in me more than I believed in myself. It was her belief that helped me move forward. So in some respects, I think I am that person for some of my clients because they have tried so many times, right? They've definitely lost weight, but they weren't able to maintain it. And some of them are like, they're just frustrated, and they're to the point where they don't think they can do it. And I know that they can.
Yeah.
Like I have 100% confidence in them. How long it takes, the journey is going to be different for every single person. But sometimes I think what I am is I'm kind of like Gail was to me, is it's like, I'm the person who's going to believe in you. You may not believe in yourself yet, but you will. Because you're going to see the successes. And then it's like, how do we take, because again, a lot of times we want results now. And so we want to take massive steps. So I'm the one that says, you know what, let's pull it back. Let's take some small steps and get really, really good at those. And let's celebrate all of that, right? So then they start, like, that's how their confidence build up and their belief in themselves too. It's like, yeah, I can. And look at these little tiny steps. They do actually make a difference.
And we get to celebrate them,
and
don't we?
We do a lot of celebrating. Like seriously, celebrate everything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we do at the gym that I go to. So I go to BIMHA Fitness, and it's you against you. And every milestone, so I I guess the last October, I celebrated my 100th workout, and it's a celebration. Yeah. And then every milestone, 200, 300, 400, whatever it is, and it's an opportunity to say, look, this is what you've done. You've consistently did 100 classes, and you've seen the results. And I feel so much stronger because I am consistent in what I'm doing. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are mornings I wake up and it's like, oh, I don't want to go for a workout, it's too cold, whatever it is. But I throw on my coat, bring my stuff, and I'm out the door and I do it. Half an hour later, it's only half an hour. It doesn't take your whole day. You've set your day up for success. You feel so much better about yourself because you're doing something that you believe in, that is working for you. That is, you're seeing goals, you're seeing the results. And I'm not seeing like tons of results. I'm not getting like huge muscles or, losing weight, because weight is not part of it. It's how are you feeling? And, my example of being able to do a full sit-up, it's like, okay, I can lift, I can bench press half my husband's weight.
Woohoo!
Yes.
That's awesome.
So being able to do that is amazing. It just makes you feel so much stronger that, what, if I can do that, I can do anything.
You know what, and I like what you said there too, because when we keep our promises to ourselves, right? When you can do that, you really can do anything. Yeah. The other thing too is, I had one client and she's been sick. I mean, and so she hasn't been working out. And for me, it was reminding her that rest sometimes is just as important, right? You need to heal. And so it's sometimes giving up, or not giving up, but putting aside that all or nothing mindset, is this idea that if I can't work out, or if I'm like, she's not beating herself up because she's giving her body a chance to heal. She's still doing other things like yoga, but she's not going to the gym now. And she shouldn't be going to the gym because her body needs to heal. She's not well, right? So when we recognize that sometimes, 100% looks different every day, like if we promise to give 100% every day, we can do that when we recognize that it's going to look different every day.
Yes.
Sometimes 100% is going to be, getting up and doing 20 minutes of yoga. Because that's it. Another time 100% is going to the gym and pushing hard, right? So recognizing that it can change, and that's where that grace comes in again, and kind of pushing past that hustle culture, which the fitness industry really sells a lot, right?
They do. Yeah. So you mentioned about being a coach one-on-one, and you have your 12-week program. So once the program's done, and let's say I've done working with you one-on-one, is there an opportunity for me to continue working with you, messaging you, hey, Laurie, I recently had a setback, any ideas?
Yeah.
So what's next for your clients once they finish the program with you?
So a lot of my clients who go through the 3-month habit transformation program, a lot of them end up signing up and doing more one-on-one, more customized programming. But I have clients that I have worked with in the past, and yes, they can still reach out to me. I also have a private Facebook group where I share a lot of information. So sometimes, anybody can join that. I mean, you don't have to be a client to join that group, but there's a lot of extra support provided there as well, because first of all, not everybody is ready for coaching, right?
No.
But I still want to be able to share some information to help them get healthy, help them be healthier. So there's that. But no, I've got clients who still reach out to me, and I'm like, I don't shut the door. No, I want to help you.
You know what? That's lovely, because I know some coaches out there, and it's a business, really. You're doing it because you love and what you're doing, and you want to inspire your clients and help them become better versions of themselves. But at the end of the day, it's doing something you love. It's making a difference in people's lives. And for me, that's really important too, is making that difference, is whatever I'm doing, I try to make a difference either for myself or for others out there. And at the end of the day, it's following your passion, it's bringing, doing what brings you joy, and you're busy living. And really, that's what everybody should be doing, is thinking about what's next for me instead of I'm done.
Yeah. There's always something next. Like, I really do believe that, right? I completely changed my career at 50, 52 actually. But it doesn't stop, right?
No.
Even if whatever next looks like, I don't know what it's going to be like when I'm 70, when I'm 65, right? I don't know. But I do know that I'll be doing something, and I'm hoping that there's going to be something new involved.
Yep.
Keep exploring, find something.
You know what? And that's the best thing that we can do, is to keep exploring and looking for those opportunities. Yeah.
Absolutely.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Laurie, for coming on. I learned a lot from you, and I hope our listeners and viewers will also take that inspiration to make changes for themselves. And again, if they want to reach out for you, we'll make sure that we have that information posted.
Great. Thank you so much for the invite. This has been so much fun.
I'm glad.
Fun. Thank you.
Yes,
Jenny.
you're welcome. Thanks, Laurie. So this has been Coffee with Jenny B for the new Multicultural channel. I'm your host, Jenny Sakovac.